Alright guys, it is a few days after New York Comic Con. This video today is going to be your Wednesday pull list, but if you guys are interested to hear my stories about my one day at New York Comic Con with my amazing wife Stephanie, stick around to the end, and when we wrap this video up, I'll give you all the juicy details, I'll show off some art that I picked up, and yeah, it's just going to be a really good time. So if you want to hear that, stick around to the end. Otherwise, let's go ahead and dive in to today's video. What is going on, comic book fans? Guys, we are just a few days away, actually 2 days from me. No, actually it's only 1 day. I don't even know what time it is anymore. We're just 1 day away from the best day of the work week. That is New Comic Book Day. Today is October 22nd of 2022. We're getting ready to talk about the best covers, the best books, in my opinion, to pick up to read, and just like, you know, go through everything that's on my pull list. I'll give you the good, the bad, the amazing, even the little bit of ugly, all in today's video. So guys, if you're pumped and you're excited, make sure you're smashing that like button. It does help the channel out so much. And just one more thing before we dive into today's video. I covered the books that are on my pull list, but guys, there are so many amazing comic books that come out every single week that I do not cover on this channel because I don't pick up every single book that comes out every single week. And if there's a book that I missed that you guys want me to check out, guys, let me know down in the comments below. I'm always open to trying a new book. All right, guys. That is everything. The Wednesday pull list, talking about the amazing books coming out this Wednesday, which is tomorrow for me, October 23rd of 2024. So let's go ahead and get this video started with checking out my pull list. All right, guys, this week is a doozy. It's not my biggest. It's pretty close to it. Come on, camera. Refocus. There we go. There's the colors. Huge week. Huge week. Everyone in the Discord was talking about how big of a week it is for them. This week is huge. These are the books I'm picking up to read. There are 27 of them. They go from this side all the way to this side of my ultra wide monitor, but you guys can't see what those books are, so let me go and throw them up on screen right now. Now, I'm not even sure throwing them up on screen right now is going to make it any easier for you guys to tell what books I am picking up this week, but don't worry, we're going to cover all of them in today's video. But like I said, 27 books on my pull list. Now, of those 27, there are 3 new number ones, and if we break down this list a little bit more, there are 8 DC books, 7 Marvel books, and 12 independent comics. Now, there are 2 books that I did not read because I honestly just did not have the time, even though I did have a little extra time because I ended up driving my older son Nate to boxing, and I sit outside boxing for an hour while he does his thing. But I actually read some books that I've been meaning to read, and those are really good. So I'm glad I did that. But guys, those 2 books, which I'll highlight right now, cannot make the top 3 list. All right, guys, there are some books on the chopping block, so let's go ahead and find out what books are being chopped from my pull list. Alright guys, there are 3 books on the chopping block this week, and the first one up is Batman Brave and the Bold. Now I'm going to tell you guys, when I was first reading this series, it was really good. It is a very expensive book at $8.99, but it is a big fat anthology series with some really amazing short stories, all focused around the character of Batman or the Batman family or the Bat Rogues, everything Bat related. So it's been really good so far. But I honestly have been seeing some storytelling that hasn't been all that great, which has made me put this to the bottom of my stack week after week, and I've fallen a couple issues behind, and that just means it's time to chop this book from my pull list. Some of the stories have been really awesome, and I'll be sad that I'm going to miss out on some of those stories in the future, but I gotta be honest, guys, saving that $8.99 every single month is going to be pretty nice. It opens up pretty much the opportunity to pick up 2 other books for that same price. Alright guys, I might have chopped this book in the past, but it's still on my League of Geeks pull list, so I'm just going to make sure I remove it this week, and that is Gotcha Man. Now I know someone down in the comments told me that after issue 1, the writing got a lot better, but I gotta be honest with you guys, just reading that issue number 1 put a huge sour taste in my mouth, and I have no desire to go back to this book. I have no desire to go back to this franchise from the 80s and try to relive it and make it amazing. I was really hoping that first issue was going to suck me in because it's written by Colin Bunn, but it didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and move on from Gotcha Man. Now, the final series I'll be chopping for my pull list is Spider-Boy. Now, I have about 3 issues in my box over here that I collect the books that I have to read, and having 3 in there just means I have no interest in reading this book title. Now, I know a lot of you guys are enjoying it, and I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying it, but this title is written for definitely a much younger audience, and sometimes that is okay. Sometimes it's even really enjoyable for me, but this book is just not resonating with me, and I gotta make room in my pull list. I gotta bring my my overall total that I'm spending every single month on the books that I'm reading down. This month, before I went in and really started cutting down the books that I want every single month, my total on my comic shop previews order for the month of October was $390. I was able to chop it all the way down to $333, but still, that means I am collecting way too many books, and I gotta chop some of these books from my pull list. All right, guys, those are the 3 books that I'll be chopping from my pull list, which is always sad to see some books go, but that means we're making room for either other books or we're just making sure that we're only keeping the cream of the crop. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move over to the super positive and really fun section, which are my cover lover picks. I hope you guys have a drink or a cup of coffee or something to enjoy while we go over these cover lover picks, because there are so many. This is a huge week for comics and a huge week for cover lover picks. But guys, just remember, these are the covers that I like. There are so many other covers out there every single week that I know you guys love and enjoy. And if you have one that you think I should check out because maybe I missed it, let me know down in the comments below. All right, to kick this off, we got Detective Comics issue number 1090. This is the cover C. It's done by Bruno Redondo. And I just gotta say, I read issue number 118 of Nightwing yesterday, and oh my god, the end of Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo's run on that title was so epic. It was so good. I'm so excited to see where Bruno Redondo is gonna go next, because his artwork just, it changes a book for the better. It really does. And this cover for Detective Comics issue number 1090 is freaking amazing. It is so good. It's simple. It's just like a really good close-up of Batman, and you really only see his like mouth and his nose, but it's freaking awesome. All right, guys, next up is Nightwing issue number 119. This is the cover B variant done by Dan Panosian. Guys, every single month on your previews orders or your FOC or your new comic book day polls, make sure you're checking out every single cover done by Dan Panosian, because he is just on another level right now. This cover right here is probably one of his worst for Nightwing, but he has a few coming up to get better and better, and this one is really good, but the ones coming up are so good. All right, guys, next up is Superman issue number 19. This is the cover G. It's the 1:25 ratio variant done by Ben Oliver. It's not his best, but it's still, Superman looks freaking awesome. He looks really freaking good. Ben Oliver is such a great artist. All right, guys, next up is X-Men issue number 6. This is the 1:25 ratio variant done by my boy, Julian Tedesco. I just really like the rendition of Cyclops and, what's the guy with the Juggernaut? I can't believe I'm forgetting people's names. They look freaking awesome. The rest of the characters kind of have like a very young feel to them, but man, Juggernaut looks freaking amazing. He's holding the Sentinel head up like this. So good. All right, guys, next up is another cover for X-Men issue number 6. This is the Doom variant done by Rogue Antonio. Yeah, some of these Doom covers are awesome, but I didn't notice this at first when I was looking at the cover, but Magic has kind of magicked herself, like she was gonna attack him from like, you know, coming out of one of her portals, but Doom caught her like halfway and her legs are over here and her body's up here. That is a freaking awesome idea. All right, guys, now, next up, we got a bunch of covers for Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1. There are so many covers, so many ratio covers, and so many exclusive covers. I probably missed some. There are probably more added to the list already, but guys, let's go over my favorites. First up, we got Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1 with the cover D in the 1:50 ratio variant done by Jeff DeCall. This is so gorgeous. Now, I'm most likely not going to pick up the 1:50 because I am broke from New York Comic Con. I actually did sell a couple books on eBay because I reduced the price, and people love when you reduce prices, and they bought some books. So I might have a little bit cash. Hopefully it hits the bank account today or tomorrow on New Comic Book Day, and I can snag some more Absolute Wonder Woman. I also need to be able to pay my boy Nacho because he picked up that Daredevil from New York Comic Con, and I owe him the money for that plus shipping. So gotta make sure I had the money for everything. All right, guys, next up is Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1, the cover F, which is the 1:25 ratio variant done by Dan Panosian. Hands down, my favorite cover for this book. This is so good. So good. My fingers are crossed that when this is posted on mycomicshop.com, I can get it for like $9.99, because that's about the budget I have for all my ratio books this week. So I'll be picking up one ratio book if I can, and that's this one right here. All right, guys, next up is Absolute Wonder Woman. This is the first exclusive that we're going to talk about. This is the Diamond UK variant done by Fabrizio de Tommasame. Tom Maceo. This one's awesome. Just the energy in her face is freaking epic. And I've never heard of this artist before, but this is a freaking fantastic cover. Not overly sexy or overly cute, just bad freaking ass. Love it. Next up is Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1, the Midtown exclusive done by Dan Panosian. I do find it kind of interesting that he's doing the 1 in 25, which is kind of just like a bust with her and her sword. Well, her sword is freaking epic. And then just the full body. Definitely love the 125 a lot more than the full body. Something about her face just looks kind of like small and like kid-like, but the 1 in 25 is so good. All right, guys, are there more? Yes, there's one more that I really like. This is Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1, the Scotty Young web store exclusive. All of the Scotty Youngs are amazing. I really like the Superman the most, but this Wonder Woman is absolutely fantastic. All right, guys, next up we have 2 covers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 3. The first up is the 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Danny Earls. I'm picking up every single 1 in 25 for this series. They're a connecting cover set. They have the turtles like running on the train tracks and stuff. I almost said the S-I-T-H. I almost swore right there. I try not to swear in these videos, but guys, this one is just, I love the whole connecting cover set. I was gonna get my number 2 signed by Jason Aaron while I was at New York Comic Con, but his line was bananas. I stayed away from all the really long lines. But guys, let's go ahead and move on. Next up is the 1 in 100 ratio variant done by Lee Weeks for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 3. Yeah, this one is really cool. I really like it. I'm probably not gonna pick it up unless I can find it for cheap like down the line, but this cover is really cool. All right, guys, next up is probably my favorite cover of the week. I might say that again later on in this video, but this is the Flash issue number 14 with the cover B variant done by DK Ruan. I was saying his name for a very long time as Dyke, but when I went to his table at New York Comic Con, his representative said his name is DK. So his name is DK. Moving forward, DK, I'm sorry I was pronouncing your name completely wrong for probably over a year, but I gotta say, DK, you need to be a little bit more personable at your table. I was so excited to meet you, and you were so dead fish. Just like a big old fish just dead on the table. Like very not interactive, and it kind of let me down, man. I was so excited to meet you because I love your freaking artwork, and this is just really a banger, and to see you draw at the table was amazing. Just be a little bit more personal. That's all I ask. All right, guys, next up is the Incredible Hulk issue number 18 with the variant cover done by Ryan Brown. Probably one of the best Hulk covers we'll see in a very long time. This one is just freaking epic. This should have been the 1 to 25 ratio variant, hands down. People would have loved it. People would have gone after it. It would have been a little bit more rare. It would have been awesome. But it's not. It's just open order, which is great too because we all get to get it. All right, guys, next up is a bunch of covers for Iron Man issue number 1. I really hope this book is going to be good. So the first one up we're going to talk about is the 1 in 25 ratio variant and the 1 in 100 virgin ratio variant done by Linnell Francis Yu. Lazy Marvel. So lazy. For a 1 in 100, do some new art. Don't just take the 1 in 25 or an open order cover and make it a virgin. That is so lazy. But the cover is awesome. All right, guys. Next up, once my computer starts working, next up is the Negative Space variant done by John Tyler Christopher. He was really cool at New York Comic Con. Very nice guy. But this cover is so good. I don't personally really like these Negative Space variants all that often, but this one right here is really good. All right, guys, next up is the foil variant. This is done by Philip Tan, and it's freaking awesome. The one after that is the baby variant. Well, I'm calling it the baby variant. This one is done by Scotty Young. And I really like Scotty Young covers when there's a bunch of background elements, and this one has all that, and it's freaking awesome. All right, guys, next up is 2 covers for Power Girl issue number 14. I've shown these when these were on FOC, and they're back again. First one up is the cover B variant done by Miguel Mercado. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Man, her doing this pose looks so good. Her bicep is like 4 times the size of mine. But she still has like this gorgeous, beautiful face. We're not focused on her boobies. We're focused on her and how strong she is. How strong she is, it's epic. All right, guys, the next cover that I really like is the cover C. It's done by Simon DeMeo. His table was also swamped at New York Comic Con. I wanted to meet him, but man, this cover, yeah, it's really good. It accentuates the booty and the boobs. Real nice. All right, guys, next up is Green Lantern Dark, issue number 1. This is the cover E. It's the 1:25 ratio variant done by Dan Jurgens, and it is awesome. Love it. So dark, so creepy. It's better than that David Nakayama variant because I don't think this character is supposed to be sexy, and he made her sexy. Don't make characters that are not supposed to be sexy sexy. Keep the sexy ones sexy and leave the other ones, let them be dark. Let them be mysterious. They don't need giant boobs and a big butt. This character does not need that. She needs to be scary, and it's awesome. All right, guys, next up is 2 covers for Hello Darkness, issue number 4. First up, we got the cover A, done by Paulo Rivera. So good. Just so good. All the cover A's. I'm probably going to chop this book in the future, but I will probably still end up picking it up because the cover A's are so good. All right, guys, the other cover that I really like is the cover D. It's the Halloween variant done by Fraser Irving, and it's just awesome. It's so Halloween, and it's so great. All right, guys, next up is Grommets issue number 5, the cover B, the 1:10 ratio variant done by Brett Parsons. All these 1:10s have been really good, except for 1 or 2. The rest of them has been really, really good, and this one right here is awesome. All right, guys, we have 3 covers left. Next up is the Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, issue number 13. This book has really gone downhill. It's most likely going to be chopped soon. This is the cover C variant. It's a 1:10 Virgin variant done by Jorge Fornes. I didn't have anything to have Jorge sign when I was at NYCC. I should have had something, but this cover is so good. So good. It's like a negative space variant, but not. It's really, really clever. All right, guys, next up is the Tin Can Society, issue number 2 with the cover B. This is the 1:10 ratio variant done by DK Ruan. This cover is freaking awesome, and this book is really good. Stay tuned for more. All right, guys, the final book is the book that I wish I'm going to be able to pick up this week. It all depends on how much of the funds from eBay hit my account tomorrow. But this cover, Space Usagi, White Star Rising, issue number 1 with the cover B variant, which is a 1:10 ratio variant done by Peach Romoko. This cover is gonna be fire. People are gonna scoop it up, probably before me, probably for way more money than I'm willing to spend, but this cover is so stinking good. I'm not even that big of a Space Usagi fan or Usagi fan, but this cover is freaking awesome. I would love to add it to my collection. But guys, those are all my cover lever picks. That was probably super long. I apologize, but I gotta show you guys all the cool stuff. I really do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move over to the next section, which are all the new number 1s on my pull list that I think you guys have to be checking out because the stories sound really, really good. Before we dive into those new number 1 guys, I'm just going to ask you, I should say guys and girls, because I don't know how many girls and guys watch this show, but guys, hopefully there's both girls and guys, but I love you all. But before we dive into those new number 1s, guys, do me a favor, smash that like button. It helps the channel out so much. And we have been getting more views on this video, so I thank everyone who have been smashing that like button. All right, guys, enough from me. Let's go ahead and find out what those 3 new number 1s are that I think you guys have to be checking out this week because the story, it really does. They sound really, really good. 3 new number 1s to cover this week. I am going to read the synopsis for each one because I'm really pumped for every single one of these new number 1s, but I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. So I'm probably going to speak pretty fast, but keep up because this is going to be awesome and you want all 3 of these new number 1s. First one up, Iron Man issue number 1. We haven't had a good Iron Man series in a very long time, and hopefully this is gonna be the one to do it. All right, guys, this is gonna have the writer of Spencer Ackerman. Never heard of this guy before, which makes me a little nervous. And this is also going to have art by Julius Ota, which again, I haven't heard of this person as well either, but maybe that's a good thing. Not knowing the creative team does not mean it's going to be bad. It just means we have to be a little hesitant going in, but I'm really excited about the synopsis. Let me go ahead and read it real quick. A new brutal era begins. Roxxon and AIM team up to take on Stark Unlimited, but they're ready for the old Tony Stark. This one, he's a lot angrier than he used to be. Iron Man is going to war, new armor, old enemies, and unbelievable twists abound in this fresh take on a Fury-powered Iron Man from Pulitzer Prize winner journalist Spencer Ackerman and groundbreaking artist Julius Ota. I'm ready for a mad Iron Man, for an angry Iron Man. Let's freaking go. That sounds amazing. Guys, there are lots and lots of variants. I'll make sure I'll show them during the reading of that synopsis, but we're just gonna keep moving on. But I've already covered my favorites during my cover lover picks. All right, guys, next up is Green Lantern Dark, issue number 1. This is coming from the writer of Tate Brombal. He was the writer on House of Slaughter and some other books. And this is going to have art by Werther Dell'Edera. He was so sweet at New York Comic Con. He was such a nice guy. He's been on the channel before. He sent us stuff to give away. Really, really nice guy. Let's read the synopsis. On a post-apocalyptic Earth overrun by monsters, the battle between good and evil ended long ago. And evil won. Now darkness prevails as humanity struggles to survive in the corrupted wastelands that remains. Only one hero is said to haunt what's left of our shadowed cities, the one who wields the mystical green flame that could return light into a dark world, the Green Lantern. But she's been missing for years, and on the isolated island of New England, Solomon Grundy's undead army only grows larger and more powerful every night. Celebrated horror artist of smash hit Something is Killing the Children, Werther Dell'Edera teams with rising star writer Tate Brombal of House of Slaughter to bring you a chilling tale of desperation, hope, and resurrection from the bitter remains of the fan favorite Tangent universe. Now, I personally don't remember the Tangent universe at all, but I don't care. That sounds so good. And Werther Dell'Edera's art is going to freaking scream on that book. All right, guys, the final book that I'm really pumped for, especially after reading Absolute Batman issue number 1 and how good that was, is Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 1. Coming from the writer of Kelly Thompson, it has art by Hayden Sherman. What an awesome team right there. And the synopsis is short and sweet, but let's go ahead and read it. Eisner winner Kelly Thompson and breakout artist Hayden Sherman reinvent Wonder Woman from the ground up. Without the island of paradise, without the sisterhood that shaped her, without a mission of peace, what's left is the absolute Wonder Woman. Now, I'll make sure I dig on the internet, try to find some preview pages for the interior art that I can show you, because I've already shown you lots of the variant covers, and there's so many more. Guys, go to leahcomicgeeks.com, check out all the variants, because I don't have time to show all of them right now. But guys, this is going to be a banger of a book. Hopefully it follows in the same footsteps as Absolute Batman issue number 1, because that was incredible. All right, guys, those are the new number 1s that I think you guys have to be checking out. Let's go ahead and dive into my top 3 books that I think you guys have to be reading this week, because the stories were the best of the 24 books that I read this week. The book that's in the number 3 spot is a book that I picked up at a whim when I went to a local comic book shop near my house, my old local comic book shop, because I was bored one day. I saw the cover and I was like, you know what, that's a really cool cover. And I remember it has interior art by Francesco Mobili. Let me go ahead and pick this up. And that is The Tin Can Society. Issue number 2 comes out this week, and I read issue number 1 on Saturday. No, I read it on Sunday. Yes, Sunday when I was at my daughter's softball tournament, and I was waiting for that first game to start. I read the first issue, and holy guacamole, it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Now, this is coming from the creative team of Peter Warren as the writer. Never heard of Peter Warren. And has art by Francesco Mobili. Now, I've featured Francesco Mobili's covers over the past few months because he's had some absolute bangers. Especially, he has an amazing Spider-Man cover that I absolutely love. I think I have 2 or 3 copies because I keep finding them for cheap, because Amazing Spider-Man, it's just one of those books that's always heavily ordered, so you can usually get the 1 in 25s for like $7 or $8, and I definitely have picked up at least 2 copies, if not 3, because the artwork is just so good, and the interiors for the Tin Can Society are incredible. They are so good. Definitely elevated the story to another level because the art was so good. Now, a very brief synopsis for issue number 1, and what really sucked me in is that this follows a group of kids that become a group of friends out of, kindness, which isn't always, how a group comes together. And they all rally around this one kid who has a disability, who was orphaned and then brought into a family, and he has this thing where he has trouble with his legs, and he has trouble able to swallow and controlling the muscles, and so he can't eat solid food. And then he tries to eat solid food one day and he almost chokes to death, and then these 4 or 5 kids come around and they save him, and everyone is looking at him like he's weird and crazy, and they just become best friends that moment. And that was so cool. It was so cool to see these kids rally around this kid with some disabilities. My son has a very small disability, but he does have to wear a brace on his leg, and obviously wearing a bright blue brace on one of his legs sticks out. And I know that has to be hard for Jackie Boy, but he's a champ about it. But he has a lot of good friends at school, and they don't care about that. And I think that helped me connect a little bit to this book a little bit more. But still, just seeing people rally around someone a little bit weaker and lift him up was so cool. But then it jumps to the future. After this whole introduction to this group of friends, everyone's a lot bit older, and one of the characters, the kid with the disability, is murdered. Like brutally. And one of the friends is a detective, and she's already on the scene, and then you meet the other characters as they've grown up, and it does a beautiful job of introducing you to each of the characters now that they're older and what they're doing, and little suspicions for each one. It was awesome. I gotta tell you guys, this book was a shocker of how well the story flowed and was told. The pacing, the dialogue, everything really engaged you in each moment. Jumping from the past to the current time was handled so beautifully. And the art, again, by Francisco Mobili was awesome. This book is a must pick up if you haven't picked it up already. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 9-issue miniseries. I'll try to check online and find out the definitive number. It is a miniseries, and I'll let you guys know. But this is only $3.99. $3.99, and there is that 1 in 10 done by D.K. Ruan, which is so good. Guys, this book, pick it up if you haven't. This is only issue number 2. This is a great and easy jumping on point because you only got to pick up issue number 1. If you can't find it, pick it up digitally. It's worth it. Trust me. All right, guys, that is the number 3 book. Let's go ahead and find out what the number 2 is. Grommets, guys. Grommets! It's such a good freaking comic book. It is so good. Issue number 5 comes out this week. I read issue number 4 also on Sunday while I was at my daughter's softball tournament waiting for the first game to start. This book has had so many amazing issues, and issue number 4 was amazing. The first 3 issues kind of were focused on the friendship and them being bumbling, dumb teenage kids becoming really good friends, and it was amazing seeing this friendship blossom and like fumbling over so many different things, like, you know, dealing with girls and crushes and becoming friends and like smoking weed together for the first time and being just idiots together. And issue number 4 put that friendship on to the breaking point, and it was awesome because I remember in my past having moments like that where you're dealing with something, you go to your friend to tell him what's going on, and he's got his own stuff. He lays his stuff on you, and you're hoping to lay your stuff on him, and then you just fight. And there's this really intense moment where you don't think you can be friends with this person anymore. And that's what that issue number 4 was all about. And it's like, they do a great job in this book. Rick Remender, the creative team on this book, I totally forgot to let you guys know, in case you aren't reading Grommets, it's Rick Remender and Brian Posen as the writer, and Brett Parson as the artist, and Diso Monero as the colorist. This book is so good. But what they do is they take real life moments that a majority of us go through as teenagers and just put it into this book, and it's so nostalgic, especially as a 44-year-old man. My birthday was last Friday, and I'm just so old, but I have those memories of making these same mistakes as a kid, and the way they lay it out, it's so raw and so emotional. You connect to these characters so quickly, and you remember being an idiot kid, and it's just so good. And the art by Brett Parsons is freaking incredible. Everything about this book is just the best. It really is. It's the best. If you aren't reading it, make sure you're picking it up. It's just a blast from the past. It's like bringing things from my past into the current and making me relive them and making me smile and remember how dumb I was as a teenager. And it's okay to be dumb. You need to make those mistakes as a kid. And this book, it's just reminding me of how amazing it is to be a dumb kid. All right, guys, that is the number 2 book. If you're not reading it, I don't know what to tell you. Like, read this book. If you're not reading it, maybe wait, because this is only going to be a 7-issue mini. I guess at this point, maybe wait until this gets brought up into a trade or collected into a trade and then pick it up. But I really highly suggest you find every single copy, pick them up, support this team, let Image know that we want more grommets. All right, guys, that is the number 2 book. Let's go ahead and find out my number 1 book that I think you guys had to be reading this week because the story was the best. All right, guys, the number 1 book that I think you guys have to be picking up this week is a book that I've been talking about for a very long time. This is an independent title. I think every single issue of the first volume made the top 3 list in one spot or another, and it's back again. I know the first issue made the list, the second issue has made the list, now the third issue is on the list. This is The Hunger in the Dusk, Book 2, issue number 3. This is the second volume of this series. And the first volume was so freaking badass. There was so much energy and world building and loves and character building and everything in that first volume. And the second volume picked up right where it left off. And what issue number 2 did of this book, because I read issue number 2 on Sunday, was re-established how important the orc and human alliance is in this world. This world is a fantasy world where there's this characters called the Vangels, and they're like these basically kind of like disgusting, vile creatures that they're kind of like mindless. They kind of remind me of the orcs from Lord of the Rings, but they're more vile. And the human and orcs have to fight them to push them back. Otherwise, the Vangels are going to kill both sides. And so the orcs and human have come to a treaty, and that treaty is really held in the balance by one orc is with the human group, and that is really all that's holding the alliance together. And in the end, or at the end of the first volume, that treaty is kind of like broken. Terra, the orc, leaves the human group and like starts marching back to the orcs. And issue number 2 of book 2 really reset the stage for how scary it is for both the humans and the orcs that Terra left. And it was so beautifully written. And the art by Kristen Wildgoose is incredible. It's so good. But what G. Willow Wilson is doing is also setting the stage for other characters that have big, important moments. And the leader of the Orc clan used to be in love with Terra, and Terra used to be in love with him, but his new wife does not trust Terra, and they are butting heads throughout the whole entire issue. They're uncomfortable being around each other, and at the end, they come to a truce, but it's a very loose truce. It was so well done. I cannot wait to see what issue number 3 is going to bring. I know it's going to focus on Cal, the human that made the big mistake of fighting with Terra and pushing her away. He's marching back to get her because he's in love with her, and it's so good. Guys, this world is incredible. If you like a fantasy story about love and just what you're willing to do for love, the people around you, not just like one single person, but the people around you who you depend upon every single day, this is a book you should check out. It's so beautifully written, so the artwork is so incredible. It's so good. It's a must read. It's a must read. It's what I am most excited. Whenever I see Hunger in the Dusk on my read pile, I move it to the top and I read it first because I know it's gonna be the best. It really is. All right, guys, that is the top 3 books. I hope I did a good job getting you excited for The Hunger in the Dust because it is so beautifully written and so beautifully done art-wise. It is just a banger of a book. But guys, that's not it. No, we need to do the not top 3, but the books you gotta see. And we're gonna do that right now. All right, guys, so we need to go over the rest of the books on my pull list. Now, I put the rest of the books into 3 buckets. I should say 4 buckets. The did not read, the okay, which are books that are okay. I really didn't enjoy them all that much, and I can't really suggest that you guys pick those books up. The good, which are solid books, I think you guys could check out, especially because I think they're pretty good. And then there's the great. These are the books that almost made the top 3 list. So let's go ahead and cover that did not read. And that is Batman Brave and the Bold, which has already been chopped from my pull list, and The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos. Now, like I said, I think I have 2 books that I have not read. I'm about to get a 3rd in the mail probably next week. So that'll be 3 books, and that's most likely mean this book is going to be chopped from my pull list next month. But let's go ahead and cover the okay. First up is Hello Darkness, issue number 4. Now, in every other issue, you get a Something is Killing the Children mini story, and that has been fantastic. So I read issue number 3 yesterday, and that had that mini, and then I gave one other story a shot, and I really didn't care for it all that much, and I flipped through the rest of the issue, and I don't know, nothing is sticking out to me, so I will continue picking this up until the Something is Killing the Children stories end, or the covers start to stink. After that is Spirits of Vengeance, issue number 2. Man, what a disappointment. This was a tough read. It was boring, wasn't all that engaging. I don't really care about anything that happened in that book. They did a terrible job of getting me connected to any of the characters, and that's really important for a first issue. After that is Universal Monsters Frankenstein, issue number 3. I read issues number 1 and 2 yesterday. Just didn't care for it. It was basically an exact retelling of the original Frankenstein story with no additional really intriguing things. There was one new character that you're introduced to, and I didn't care. Again, they didn't do a really good job of making me engaged into that world. And the last book on the okay list is X Factor, issue number 3. I read issue number 2 yesterday, and what a piece of poo-poo that was. I am not interested in anything in this book. What a bad X-Men book. You want X-Men every single book to be engaging and really exciting, but man, they made that book not good at all. It is so bad. And it's most likely going to be chopped from my pull list next month. All right, guys, next up is the good books. First up is The Avengers, issue number 19. They had a 2-issue arc featuring Hyperion, and they actually ended it really, really well. First issue was kind of meh, and after that, it was actually pretty good, and that's coming off the whole Blood Hunt terribleness. It was like 4 issues of Blood Hunt tie-in that was god-awful. And then this 2-issue arc with Hyperion was actually pretty stinking good. I'm excited to see where this book is going to go because I want to love the Avengers book. Next up is Green Arrow, issue number 17. This is the final issue. Issue number 17 is the final issue of Joshua Williamson's run on this book. We'll have a new creative team on issue number 18. It was good. I did not love it. I did not hate it. I'm excited to see where the new creative team is going to take this book because Ollie is one of my favorite DC characters, period. I love humans in this world of superheroes that just have gadgets to do their stuff, and Batman and Ollie are 2 of my favorites. They're so good. Next up is The Incredible Hulk, issue number 18. This book continues just to be good. More towards okay, but the last issue was pretty good. We're getting closer and closer to Charlie becoming freed from her little doll, and she's such a badass character. I believe she's on the cover of issue number 18 holding like a bat with some barbed wire around it, which is pretty cool. But overall, this book needs to get better if it's going to stay on my pull list every single month. All right, guys, next up is The Moon is Following Us, issue number 2. Now, I did not love issue number 1. I was really pumped for this book because it's written by Daniel Warren Johnson, one of my favorite writers to read, and also has art by Riley Rusimo, which is a great artist. But I don't know, the book seemed hurried at points, and I didn't love the banter between the wife and the husband. I thought they just I don't know. I get why the wife was so angry all the time, but it just didn't feel right. I've been reading so many stories where the couples really get along, and it makes the story that much more engaging when you can really follow this awesome love story. And I believe these 2 people are in love, but they're dealing with the fact that their daughter is in danger and it's up to them to save her, and they're just handling it differently, and they're not cohesive, and it's interesting. I didn't love it. Next up is X-Men issue number 6. I did not love issue number 5. I haven't loved the X-Men since issue number 2. I thought the first 2 issues were really, really good, and we had a couple of fill-in artists that didn't help at all. The last issue was drawn by Ryan Stegman, but again, I don't know, having a lot of trouble connecting with this series, and it's just sad. This is written by Jed MacKay, which is an amazing writer, but I'm just having trouble connecting with the writing in this book. I just don't care. All right, the great. All these books are really good. First up is Nightwing issue number 119. This is going to be the kickoff to the new creative team. I'm totally forgetting who the creative team on this. I think the artist is going to be Dexter Soy, but I forget who the writer is. But I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. Bruno Redondo and Tom Taylor gave this new creative team such a platform, an easy win. It's all set up for them just to take this story and run with it. Keep Babs and Dick together. Their relationship is awesome, and at the end of issue number 18 he says he hopes to marry her in the future, which would be hands down so good. And they just have an easy win. They don't have to do anything because issue number 118 was so good. The whole run was amazing. Do a good job, guys, because so good. I'm pumped to see where this new creative team is going to go. Next up, a Rook Exodus issue number 6. This series is getting better and better with every single issue. I did say I didn't love issue number 1. Issue number 2 was okay, but as this world builds out, it's getting better. It really is. And issue number 5, Rook finally started to understand the connection with the helmet, and how he could truly connect with his flock, because he's like, Rook, so he connects with all the birds. It was really good. And I think this book is going to get better and better because now Rook wants to stay on the planet. He wants to save the animals. He wants to be the good person. Love the character building and change there. That was really, really important. Next up, Superman issue number 19. Joshua Williamson is staying on this book, but Dan Mora is going to be the artist. We got Jamal Campbell as the artist in the first one, and now Dan Mora. This is like just a home run, and we're keeping Joshua Williamson, which he's done such an amazing job on this book. Do not take him off, DC. Let him finish whatever story he's going to tell, because right now it is so stinking good. After that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 3. Issue number 2 was really good. It was the story of Mikey. First issue was Raph. Second issue was Mikey. You saw where he's been after the last big run, 150 issues from the previous creative team. Now we get Jason Aaron, and we're going to have 5 different artists in the first 5 issues. And Raphael Albuquerque was on the second book. It was just awesome. I love the ending of that issue. I cannot wait to see. The next issue is Leonardo. I cannot wait to see what Leo's been up to. After that is Thundercats Chitara issue number 4. This series is so good. So good. It's better than Thundercats. Hands down better than Thundercats. And I don't want to say that, but it's true. The art is like 10,000 times better. It makes it so enjoyable, and the writing is just super solid. You're immersed in this universe of Thundera before the big attack from the mutants and destroying of Thundera and their escape. And it's just, you're really drawn into this world, and we're focusing on the character of Chitara as our main focus point, and we're seeing the world from her vantage point. It is just really, really good. And the final book is Zatanna Bring Down the House issue number 5. This series, awesome. Marika Tamake, and I forget who the artist is on this book. I'll make sure I put it up on screen, guys. This is a Black Label series. I believe the next issue might be the last, or maybe issue number 6 is, but it is just so interesting to see this retelling of Zatanna and her origin story, I guess you could say. And it is just, the art is true. It's not the best art in the world, but his panel layouts are some of the best. It really is. They're engaging, they're interesting, the way he can put characters together and scenes together and just flow so seamlessly and interestingly. And that's another thing. Each page is like an interesting thing to look at for your mind, and it just makes it so enjoyable. I love, 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 love this series. And guys, that's going to do it for me this week. Those are all the books on my pull list. So we go ahead and we can wrap this video up. All right, guys, I know that was a long video. I know I was talking a lot. And if you guys are still sticking around and you want to hear about my experience at New York Comic Con, stick around. But if you guys watched all of that and you're going to tune out now, I just got to thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed that video and you enjoy comic book content and you're not subscribed. Get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notification, and smash that like button. All right. New York Comic Con. I haven't been in like 5 years. It's been a long time since I've been to New York Comic Con, and I was a little nervous because I was taking Stephanie with me. She hasn't experienced anything Comic Con related, so this was a full new experience for her. She's like, you know, been on the channel before. She was on the channel for like 2 years straight doing comics and beer with me, and she used to read a lot more comics. It's just our life has gotten so much busier now the kids are older. I thought life would get easier, but it's so much busier. But she came along, and what a freaking great experience. It was so awesome. We got to the con. I'm so terrible at taking pictures. We didn't take anything until we got to the artist alley, but we spent about 2 hours just walking around the main floor because I wanted to give her an opportunity to see everything. There were so many things to look at. We ran into my good friend David Andre. We met Big Clutch, and that was freaking awesome. I got David Andre to sign one of my books, and we had dinner with Big Clutch and David Andre later that night, and holy moly, I didn't know these people personally. David Andre had been on the channel a bunch of times, and I've never met Big Clutch before, but they came to dinner with us, and it was so much fun. We got to talk comics. I got to know David Andre a lot more, and David Andre, you are such a fantastic person, and Big Clutch, so nice. You hung out with two people that you did not know, and we had a great time. You told me about your history in comics, and it was just, you are a really cool person. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and they paid for dinner, which was so incredible. They didn't need to, but they did, and it was awesome. So it was just so nice of them. It was such a great way to end the night. And we didn't take a picture. Again, I am so bad about whipping this out unless it's like, you know, a moment where it's so easy for me. Every time I got a signature from someone at a table, I got a picture because it was just like automatic. All right, sign my book, take a picture. Sign my book, take a picture. But we were out and just having fun. And I'm always so terrible about taking out this and taking a picture. But the rest of the con, we were there from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. I think we left at like 6:30. My legs were smoked. We walked around for like, what is that, 8.5 hours, just complete walking. And carrying that book, I had like, 25 books on me in my backpack. It was just so heavy, but it was worth every single second. Now let me go ahead and go through the pictures real quick. I can tell you guys who I met. All right, so first up, we met Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire was super nice. He was the first person I ran into, and there was no one at his table. No one at Jeff Lemire's table. Are you freaking kidding me? No one was at his table. I walked right up. I got a picture with him. He was just super nice. I think I probably could have talked to him a lot more if I was prepared for that conversation. I just wasn't prepared. I got a little bit more open as I went out through the day. I came in a little bit more reserved, and then I just blossomed like a flower, and I was like talking to everyone. But next up, we met Michael Delanis. Holy moly. Michael Delanis is the artist on Wind, and he did Zawa. He's coming out with a new book that's going to be creator owned. He is writing or drawing the next 2 volumes. It's 8 issues of Wind, 48 pages each, and it says it's going to take him like the next year and a half, but he's already working on his own creator owned issue, and it's a much darker tale than Zawa, and he showed me some of the stuff he's doing for it. So good. He was so excited to tell me all this stuff because I think he knew I was a true fan, because we were talking about Wind and Zawa for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then another 10 minutes talking about his new creator-owned stuff. It was such an awesome experience. After him, we met Delkin Shelby. Again, really, really nice guy. I didn't know he was Scottish or Irish, but he definitely is. But super nice guy. Told him how awesome Terminator issue number 1 was. If you haven't read that, guys, give that book a shot. It was really awesome. I told him about my fondness for Thundercats, another good book, and he was just super duper nice. After that, DK Ruan, I already told you guys, this guy was like a dead fish. I was like pouring my heart out to him. You guys know how much I love his artwork. And he was just like, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. Okay, cool. Want a picture? Okay. And that was DK Ruan. I was like, come on, man, give me something. And after that, I met Balin Ortega. Super nice, very thick accent, Spanish, and just like a super, super nice girl. After that, I met Jorge Jimenez. A quick story about that. His line was uber long, and I had no idea it was uber long. We were just walking down Artist Alley and stuff, and he was like, there's only 4 people. Why aren't we getting in line? I'm like, there's no way there's only 4 people. And sure enough, there was only 4 people, so we got in line. And then a minute later, as we're waiting, a lady came up and was like, "Are you last in line?" And Stephanie was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, I'll wait to go get more people from the line." So the line was like so long. It was so long. And we cut the whole entire thing. And at that point, I was already in the line. And I was like, I'm just going to stay. And we stayed. And talked to him for like 3 minutes. And he was such a nice guy. I got an awesome picture with him. He's just super nice. You would think a star like Jorge Jimenez would be a little stuffy. Not at all. He was just so thankful for everything I had to say. And he was such a cool guy. After that, I met Ben Caldwell. I got him to sign 3 of my favorite Red Sonja covers, and I smudged every single signature like a butthead. But I did buy a sketch from him. It's $150 for a sketch, and it was this. I'll put it up on screen, a better picture. There we go. It is a Black Canary and Green Arrow, and it is so good. Stephanie was not happy with that purchase. $150 for a sketch was a little bit much for her, but I think that's the perfect amount. I cannot wait to get that framed and up on the wall. Again, he was also kind of an odd duck. Very nice, but I don't know, the conversation seemed weird. Maybe because he was busy or whatever, but he seemed kind of rushed and didn't want to spend time. You can tell in the pictures he's just an odd duck. Maybe that's just him. But again, very nice, just like a little different. And after that, we met Mariko Tamake. I got her to sign my Sweet Paprika book. She was super duper nice. After that, Mumad Asrar. Such a nice guy. There was someone that had their portfolio open. They were having him go through it, and he was talking to them. We were waiting for like 20 minutes. It was so long. We were next in line. But I had my books open, and he had a new book. It was called Bug Wars. He's doing the art, and Jason Aaron's doing the writing. I bought the ash can for it, and then I never took it because I was so excited for him to sign my 2 Polaris books, and I had him write Polaris on the little cup. I'll make sure I put an image up on screen. I got him to do both, and he was actually really excited to do that because no one's asked him to do that before. And so, Ghost, thank you so much for telling me to do that. I got 2 signed. I'm probably gonna send them both into CGC in the future, and I will give away 1 to the Discord in the future because you guys gave me that idea, and I'll give it to you guys, and you guys will do some kind of giveaway in the future for one of those books. It was just so cool. Next up, Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, I thought was awesome. I thought he was so cool. There was only like 2 people in front of me. We got up in line, talked to me for like 15 minutes. It was awesome. He told me all about the next volume of Batman the White Knight. He does say it's going to be the last volume, which is super sad, but it's going to be about Bruce and Clark getting to meet each other. They obviously fight. Bruce takes away his powers, and then something comes to Earth that is going to be very dangerous, and he needs Superman to stop it, but they don't know how to get his powers back, so it's going to be about them finding a way to get his powers back. But when they do give his powers back, supposedly they're going to use some device that's going to explode. It's going to give Superman his power back. But all these people that are around him, which are going to be the Justice League, like Wonder Woman and all, like other people that have powers, this explosion is also going to give them their powers. And he says he has a funny idea where the thing's going to go off, and then all of a sudden Green Arrow comes running into the room and everyone starts manifesting their powers, but he's not going to have his powers, which is a really funny idea. I really like that idea. Stephanie thought he was pretty douchey. I didn't think that. I thought he was really genuine, really nice guy. I really enjoyed talking to him, and he could tell that I had a passion for his work, and I loved that he matched my passion with his passion for his own work. I thought it was awesome. Then, after I met Sean Murphy, I ran into Elias. Elias is one of the Discord members. We hung out for like 10-15 minutes. It was so cool. I think that's one of my favorite moments was meeting Elias because he's a real person that I chat with almost every single day in the Discord, and it was so cool. I was really hoping to meet you, Nacho, but we did end up meeting up. After meeting Elias, then we met Werther Daldera. We didn't get to meet James Tynion IV, which is fine because I was more interested in meeting Werther Daldera. He was so sweet and so cool. Such a great picture. Stephanie got in the picture for that because she's a huge fan of his, because she actually reached out to him before Something As Children was huge and got that image or that sketch that's up on the wall. I'll make sure I take a picture of that for my 40th birthday. So 4 years ago, she got that for me. It was so cool. He was so nice. And yeah, that was everything. That's everyone I met at New York Comic Con in the one day. it was tiring. I was exhausted by the end of the day, but I had like 7 or 8 pints while I was at the bar, having dinner with David Andrew and Big Clutch, and by the end of it, I had a nice buzz on. We went home, and it was incredible. It was such an awesome New York Comic Con. Stephanie and I already talked about what we're going to do different for next year. We're going to get business cards with our YouTube channel on it, so that way when we go out to people, we can give people that. And I think we're going to record next year because I had so many great conversations with all these artists about books that they're excited about. And I want them to give that platform for them to tell the world about this stuff. Because that's what we're there for, to share the passion for this hobby. And it was so great to share my passion with some of these creators. And they were so, when they brought that passion back, like I can think of Michael Delaney, Sean Murphy, and Jorge Jimenez, all really brought that like energy to the table. It was so good. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. It's a super long video, I know, but I hope you really enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys on Thursday with my final order cutoff, recommendations, and speculation video. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.